So I'd like today to highlight three trends. Right? The first trend relates to the proliferation of the Internet of Things. You know, this kind of leads to the second trend, which is, you know, basically of the fast proliferation of high-speed network deployments to meet network capacity needs, right? The third trend is the growing interest in shared spectrum.
Why LTEs are not taken off is very similar to why LG did not take off in 2005. There are few things that drive any technology. It's ultimately the end user advantage, the user experience that drives it, and also people's willingness to pay for it. Right. So first of all, you need handsets. There are not too many 4G handsets available today. If you look at network quality, even in Singapore, when you move around the city, you realize sometimes you're showing you 3G, and sometimes it drops to something else where data does not work. So networks have to be brought up to a level. LTE networks have to be rolled out, which involves right from frequency to the mobile backhaul part, etc. And then obviously the handsets part will come up. Ultimately, what you're looking for is a killer application. What really would drive that kind of?
I had a question with regards whether it's 1800 or 2600. I think ultimately it shouldn't really matter. For those who study physics, yes, 1800 lower frequency, you get better penetration, but you also end up with more interference. And interference is just as bad as not getting any coverage in the first place. You see a signal and you can't connect because there's too much noise.
You know, sometimes speaking to the customer service, I say, oh, so you're actually asking for $12,000 per gigabyte? You know, because they price it in 10 kilobytes. What is needed for roaming pricing to become more aggressive and more used widely?
It's a valid point today. Everybody just leaves the country and switch off roaming, right? Everybody does that because they are worried. And I suppose it needs cooperations amongst the different telcos. As part of our Connexus Alliance that we are part of in this part of the world, everywhere you go is $15 a day in most places. And now we are working with the Vodafone Alliance in most of the countries where the Vodafone operates, about $25 or thereabouts a day, depending on which country you are in. So this is where I think as operators, we also realize that this is actually an untapped market that we should go forward, moving forward. So I think we will see more and more of these standard packages that hopefully gives users peace of mind as they travel around the world. So we will see more and more of these because this has been discussed previously, and then my CEO Neil has always been talking about this anyway. How are we able to encourage people to use roaming when they're overseas with peace of mind? Thank you.
But on the other hand, we cannot deny that if you want to have your app have the broadest reach among consumers today, the answer has to be HTML5, because pretty much every smartphone today, no matter vendor, has a capable modern browser that supports the majority of the HTML5 standards today, including Windows Phone. So if you want the broadest reach, obviously, then you want to consider that. So as an app developer, I would urge you to think about what is it that I need my app to do? Am I targeting a specific niche audience? In that case, that I can probably get performance benefits or other benefits if I build an app. But if I want broad reach, the broadest reach, obviously I should do it as an HTML5 web app. And the last thing I just want to add is, for example, when we look at development technologies today, right? You also notice that a lot of skills today are very transferable. For example, as an HTML5 developer today, if I'm a web developer developing an HTML5, on Windows 8, I can actually build a native app that's running at near native speeds on Windows 8 using HTML5, JavaScript, and CSS. So even as a web developer, I can use that skill set to build an app, a Metro app on Windows 8. So, and I think this is not only limited to Microsoft's platform. I think if you look at the other platforms, PhoneGap was a great example. You'll see that a lot of the skills convergence is also happening right now, in the sense that people with web developer skills can easily use those skills to build native apps and get, of course, all the benefits that come with native app development. So I think that's really cool.
If you are a developer, you want people to use your application or your service, your content, whatever. Yes, logically, it makes absolute perfect sense to build on HTML5 because it gives you the broadest possible reach of devices. However, how are you going to get people to use your application or content or service? If you think you can go it alone, that's perfectly fine. But if you think you want to work with a vendor like us, we are not going to help push something that is accessible by our competitors' products. It's logical business sense, right? So the question then becomes, how are you going to go to market? How are you going to run your business? That's a question I cannot answer for you. But I can tell you what we are thinking. Right? And we are thinking, HTML5, yes, of course, support is there. All our devices, all our brand new devices all support HTML5. Not a problem. Right? But if you are thinking you want some kind of partnership with us, then it's got to be something for both sides.
We're wanting to engage with us and other manufacturers at any one given time about trying to create applications. HTML5, I guess, allows that flexibility to be able to take that across multiple platforms and vendors alike. As a vendor, it's very resource intensive to support individual application development. Right? And that's why it's particularly important that we encourage as much as possible standardization across the platform. HTML5 though does have, I guess, certain limitations which a lot of developers, as we said here, security being one of them. The other one too being the capability to have API callouts to various sections of the device. Although on the flip side, HTML5 allows you other benefits such as language support. So you don't need to rely on native locales into the device. So emerging markets like Southeast Asia, for example, there's a lot of developers in India or a lot of developers in Thailand, Vietnam, or Malaysia, and a lot of these aren't necessarily supported with full support, language support. So HTML5 does allow you to cross that barrier quite easily and quite quickly without needing to have extensive work done on the mobile devices as well. So try and keep the platform as common as possible, I guess, is the best way of getting the broadest reach into the marketplace. It also makes it easy for you to go more alone and then be able to put into the application markets. So one application, you can load it on App Store, you can load it on Android Market, you can load it on BlackBerry's and whatever they call it. I don't know what they call it.